What's up, everybody? Austin Chevron here, host of Winning Twice podcast. And I got a friend of mine today. Today's going to be a very interesting conversation. And because I'm looking forward to this guy that I got on today has a mind like no one else. This guy will help you think bigger. He'll question what you're doing. He'll show you what's going on in your mind. And I hope, Jairek, I hope you get into my mind today a little bit. So I want to welcome Jairek Robbins to the Winning Twice podcast. Thank you, my friend, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I feel like I need to do like a magician thing. Like, have you ever been hypnotized? Good. Like, I need to get in your mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, for those of you who like to think, that's what I'm talking about. And Jairek, you know, a lot of my work, I try to help people just think better. One of my clients called me their thinking coach at one point. And I'm like, huh. And so one of the things I just, me to you, just thank you. You always help me think a little bit differently. And I think one of the reasons why is we're wired different. It's like we have the same drive and vision and we go around it two different ways.
Sure.
And I'm the gas all the time. We've talked about this before. And you're like, hey, maybe there's another way. My cousin Nate Chevron, who a lot of you guys know who listen to this, he's like, do we have to run our head through the wall, Austin? Can we go around it maybe?
Sure.
And I always appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Well, I'll give you just something to noodle on for a second. You know, Earth has been around for, call it 4.6 billion years. Humans, probably 300,000, give or take. And I'll pause and ask, do you know how long the modern workplace, the work system, the 8-hour workday, how long that's been around?
200 years.
Close, 100 on this year.
Oh,
so
okay.
100 years ago, Henry Ford implemented the 8-hour work day. And this entire experiment we've run for 100 years. So remember, 300,000 years of humans, 4.6 billion years of Earth. For 100 of those years, which is a blink in the timeline, we've tried an experiment called current work form.
Okay.
And so the concept, when someone says, I wonder if there's another way we could be going about this, I think so. That's how this whole work concept came about. That's not how work used to be. Work used to be out of the house where you had families that had apprenticeships and skill sets. They had a trade that they were good at that they would bring to the market, literally the marketplace, like an actual market. And they would be trading their goods or their build or their skills for supplies and resources they need. That's all it was. And, you know, I don't know about you, but if I was a blacksmith and I was trading for wagon wheels, I don't need 108 billion wagon wheels.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So this like, you know, a $1 trillion company, that's amazing. That's a new thing. Why would you need 1 trillion wagon wheels? You have no place to put 1 trillion wagon wheels inside of an old marketplace society. And so we're running a 100-year experiment. Some people are doing unbelievably well. Others are struggling at levels they never have before. And the question becomes, well, what if there are other ways to do it? There certainly have been for over 300,000 years.
Yeah. DeWitt, you ever study a guy or heard of a guy's named DeWitt Jones by chance?
Nope.
He was a National Geographic photographer. He
Cool.
had probably the best keynote speech I've ever heard. And the one thing I took from it is there's more than one right answer.
Totally.
And it's like, you know, if you think this works, let's go find another one of the right answers. And he showed the right answers through his photography. He goes, you think this is good? Look at this. And he would show a better picture. He goes, you think this is good? Look at this. And I'm like, wow, okay. Got me thinking a little bit, little bit better, I would say. So do this. Walk me back. I don't know where you want to go with this, but can you walk me back through your past history? Who are you? Take me through Live It a little bit, your book. Where did Jairek Robbins grow up? How did he get to this point?
Well, my first job was security at Blockbuster Video. Theft was reduced by 60% within 30 days of me starting. Apparently, I was tall and scary as a teenager. I spent my Friday and Saturday nights guarding those DVDs like my life depended on it. Fast forward, my first kind of real job was in my family's nonprofit. So I had a heart for helping others, and that's where I started in my real work of life, was just how do I help others? The part I loved most about it was the ability to see that the work I did meaningfully made a positive difference in someone's life. That was cool. The part I liked least about it was the paycheck. I was like, helping people don't get paid a whole lot. Like, this kind of sucks. And so I remember walking across the courtyard in the building that we were in, and a friend of mine ran the coaching department, and I asked her, like, what do these people do? And I was just going to hang out with her between, on a break. And I was like, what do these people do? And she's like, well, they coach people. I'm like, what's that? She's like, well, they help them. They help them figure out their health, their relationship, their money, their business, helps them like excel and do better at what they're doing. I was like, cool. I was like, how much do they get paid? And she was like, well, here's what they make per session per hour. And I was like, whoa, you're telling me they make that and they help people? Can I do it? And she looked at me, and I was 18. So she's like, sure you can, kid. You just got to believe in yourself. And I was like, no, seriously, like, can I come here and do this as my work instead of that? Or with that, or some combination? And she's like, oh, we'd have to put you through some training, and we probably need to like test to make sure you get it right. But yeah, I guess we could. And I didn't realize, like, they had a list of people who wanted to coach for the organization. And these people were former business owners and executives and athletes. And like, these were high achieving humans who've done amazing things in life and the world, who already had real world experience, that were coming here to learn the skills of coaching and to coach others. And I was 18 in college working at a nonprofit because I have a huge heart and like helping people, and had no real world experience beyond the classroom. And so she was brave and gave me 250 hours of coach certification and training. She allowed me to soak it all up. And then she gave me trial clients where they tested my work for 90 days, and I passed. I wasn't perfect. I was not a platinum or gold coach. I was silver. I was kind of third when I
Okay. So
started.
you got a ranking when you were done?
Yeah, of course. They
Yeah.
rank your client results. They rank your client feedback. They rank how well how well you do, based on client feedback and actual results, not on your opinion or someone observing. They actually ask the clients, like, how are you getting results in all these areas? What difference has been made? How valuable do you think it's worth? And based on my client results, I was a silver coach. I wasn't gold or platinum at that time. I was brand new. But over time, figured it out, got momentum, became a gold coach. And I don't think I ever got platinum in that organization, but I went up a level, which was nice. And then there was a business event I went through with Chet Holmes and my dad. And they had said, we're going to roll out business coaching in the coaching department. And so I felt incongruent because I'd never run a business. I'd never managed a business. Besides sitting in the event for 2 days, I didn't know anything about a business. And so my thought was, I'm going to take the binder and I'm just going to apply it and see if this stuff works. And so I, page for page, built a website following what the binder said. It was horrific. I did it myself. Page for page, tried to set up marketing, and page for page, tried to set up sales. And I put it all online as an experiment. So at least I knew what it was like to do this. I have a hilarious story of my first client who signed up.
Do you remember? You remember them?
I remember. They were from a major law firm in London, and they wanted coaching on time management.
Okay.
And so he signed up. He reached out from Twitter because of my marketing and said, I'd like to sign up for coaching with you. And I said, sure. Why don't we have a quick call and find out if I can help with what you're trying to do? So had a call. He said, yeah, I'm working on time management. I really feel like I could be more efficient on how I'm using my time. And if I can be more productive and I can hit the following goals, I can move up and eventually become a partner at the firm. So I helped him set his goals, get his vision, dial in his time management, which were all core strengths of mine at that time and something I was really good at. And then what was funny is after that call, he said, cool, how do I sign up? And I said, well, I'll just go ahead and message you over, I think it was fax or email. I'll email you over enrollment form. Hung up the phone, called my friend who was in coaching sales at the office and said, do you guys have forms when people sign up? And he's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, can I come grab one of those? He was like, sure. what do you need it for? I was like, no reason. And so I drove to the office, picked up an enrollment form, drove back to my house, and typed everything in the form except for where it said the company's name. I put my name in. And then I emailed it to this gentleman, and he filled out this form and emailed it back. And when he emailed it back, it had his credit card on it and half of my entire month's salary. And I was like, wow, I just made half a month's work with one client contract. Oh, this is amazing. So this is one of those life moments where you're like, wow, this is cool. And I called my mom and said, Mom, how do I get money off of a credit card? And she went, honey, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm great. It's not my credit card, it's someone else's. She's like, honey, that's really illegal. You can't do that. And I was like, no. He signed a form. He giving me permission to take the money off his credit card. I just don't know how to
Yeah.
get it from his credit card to my bank account. And she's like, oh, honey, well, you need a merchant account. It's like, what's a merchant account? And so I went back on Google, Googled merchant account, and Merchant Warehouse came up. There used to be a company out of Boston. And so I called Merchant Warehouse and said, I am a business and I have a client who's filled out a form with his credit card and I need a merchant processor account, please. And they said, well, sure, we'll send you a paperwork. And, are you an LLC or a sole prop? I was like, what's that? and they're like, I was like, I'll Google it. Just send me the form. I'll figure it out. So I Googled sole proprietorship LLC and I was like, which one's fastest? Turned out in California, sole proprietorship is the fastest one you can get set up because it was Friday and this guy signed the form and we had our first call on Monday. So somewhere between Friday and Monday, I needed to get money off a credit card into my bank account. Anyway, so I went downtown, stood in line at the business office and got readily insulted by the guy behind the window. I filled out my form, sole proprietorship, blah, 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 got to the window, handed him the form and smiled because I now am going to start a business. And this guy looks at it and he goes, Jairek? Robbins. How much did you pay for that last name, huh? I looked at him and I said, excuse me? He goes, with a name like Jairek, clearly you're not from here. How much did you pay for the last name Robbins? That's a good one. I went, wow. I was born in LA. I grew up in San Diego. He's like, sure you did. Anyways, here you go. And handed me my sole proprietorship license. And I walked out going, wow, that was an experience. Gosh, I feel for all these other people in the line. Like that dude, wow. Anyways, so I went home, filled out the paperwork. I had to fax it to Merchant Warehouse. My rep, it was now late afternoon, almost evening in Boston. He got it. He goes, okay, I got it. Office is closing down for the night. Here's what I'll do though. I get in at 6 a.m. on Monday. I'll start processing, or I get in at 9. It'll be 6 a.m. your time. I'll start processing the paperwork. How soon do you need it? I'm like, my call's at 10 a.m. on Monday. So he's like, I'll get it to you by 9 a.m. You'll be ready to go. 9 a.m. Monday morning, I get an email from Merchant Warehouse with my login. I log in, I code in his card, I hit process, and ka-chow, money is now on its way from his credit card to my bank account. That was how I started my business, in the front den of a house with 4 roommates.
And you were 18, 19, 20?
I think I was like 20, probably 22, 23 maybe.
Yeah. What I love, it's funny, we've been going through it here, is you just got to have the thing in you just to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just go figure it out. I don't care. I always tell people, I don't care what it is, I'll figure it out.
Yep.
And once you figure it out, it's like you build that bone of confidence.
Yeah.
And
well, there's something special here. My mom gave this to me. In childhood development, they call it having a secure attachment. And a secure attachment means a parent has made it safe enough that you can both speak your mind and fail readily and consistently without feeling that you're going to face massive consequence.
That's big.
And so if your child comes up to you and says something to you when they're young, 4 or 5, 6 years old, and they're able to say something to you, like, I don't like you, I hate you, you're rude. That means they feel safe enough that they can actually express whatever's going on inside of them. Now, they might not be very talented expressing that at that age. They might say random things you never expect, but they're safe enough to express it. where if that child wanted to tell you something and they're like, oh, because I'll get beat if I say it out loud, or I'll be punished if I say this out loud, or I'll be unloved if I say this out loud, then you haven't created a secure attachment. You've created anxious void under one of the other ones. That's number one. So, are they safe enough where they can speak truth and not be penalized for truth? And
Uh-huh.
hopefully they get better at the truth over time. And then number two, can they fail? Can they go epically fail and still stand up, dust off, and keep coming back? And that was a gift given to me by my mom, where she was the mom that said, honey, you're not going to learn unless you go try and fail. And of course you're going to fail. You're brand new. You're horrible at this. Like, you're not good at it yet. You don't know how to do it. Go try. And you're going to mess
Yeah.
up, stand up and try again. And because I had a mom that created that secure attached space that allowed me to just fumble forward, I had that mindset of, I have no clue how to start a business. I read a binder that said something, let's try it.
Yeah.
And I failed my way forward. And fast forward, at 24 years old, I remember I had this business partner, and this is where my business really took off. We had a business partner, we threw an event, and I went from signing up 1 or 2 clients a month to all of a sudden I was signing up 20 clients a day.
Mm.
I was like, this is gonna work. So I quit my job. I had 3 jobs. So I quit my job at the warehouse stuffing boxes. I quit my job at the nonprofit. I quit my job at coaching, quit my job at sales, and I moved my way to my full-time business. And I was so proud of myself. And I learned some things about money mindset and money principles when I was young.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I did was save up 3 months of my expenses before I increased my expenses. And so I set aside 3 months of my expenses. So I had a cushion in case I failed again, which I'm
Yeah.
most likely going to because I'm doing stuff for the first time. And then I went, well, wait a minute. I have 3 months of my current expenses. If I'm going to get an apartment down on the beach that's 3 times the price of my current rent, I need 3 months of those expenses, not 3 months of these expenses. So I
Yeah.
saved up 3 months of my future expenses that I was going to be, going into as I made this transition to a better living place. And then I did it. My own little business is working. I made 6 figures in my first 8 months of that coaching business I launched. I had a partner who were getting 20 clients a day instead of 2 a month.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm living on the beach in the apartment with a little hallway ocean view where you could see it through the buildings. I was like, this is living. And so at 24, I felt like I was conquering Earth. I didn't know beans about it, but I felt like I was doing really well.
That's so it's funny you talk about money and in the money puzzle.
Yeah,
The number one feedback I get from that book is awareness.
yeah,
And it's the number one. I never would have thought that. And they're like, you just helped me become more aware. And really what the awareness is, it's not only awareness of today, it's awareness from my childhood. It's
yeah,
awareness of how I was taught and how I was raised and
yep,
the things like grandma said or mom said. Like my grandma was my anchor in our
yep,
family. She was the cornerstone and she taught us things about money that I didn't even know, but I was learning, but I didn't know she was teaching me.
yep,
And you just brought something up, hey, 3 months of expenses, and it's not like that came in a book that you had to sign off one day. It's like, no, you're just learning by listening, and
yep,
and it's amazing the stuff if people can go back in their life and just become aware of what's there already. It's normally all there.
yeah.
So that's beautiful. So take me from 25 to, I wanna almost say Amanda. What does that journey look
Keep
like?
going. 25.
Yeah.
What?
I was gonna say 25 to Amanda, because there's a period of life in which you're living on the beach and life's good, and then one day somebody comes along.
Well, I'll give you a step before that, which is kind of funny step. So we're at this stage. All of a sudden, I'm getting calls from London, England, and Australia saying, "Hey, we've heard your story. You started a coaching business and you went from 0 to 100 grand in revenue in like, what was it, 8 months? Like, that's pretty good. You're only 24. How'd you do it?" And this was before the Miami internet coaches existed. Like, this is when
Yeah.
it was actual coaching, not how, how much money you can rip off someone for. It's a mess what's going on right now. But it was true coaching. It was real training, real experience from the heart, wanting to genuinely help people be better. And it still is, but that's where it started with me from the nonprofit space, helping profession. I'm going to serve other people and I'll make a living by helping them do better in their life and business. And so as that took off, I remember I started getting calls, "Can I pay you to come speak at an event?" And, back in the day, I was like, "Well, you're gonna pay for my flights, right?" Like, I don't have to pay to fly myself there. I'm like, "That'd be
Yeah.
great." So I was taking free trips all over the world in return for trading a speech. And I'm like, "God, I could speak for an hour and someone will fly me to Sydney? Done." Like, I could speak for an hour and I get to go to London for the weekend. That's amazing. So I was
Yeah.
taking free trips all over the world, and it was amazing that I could add value and enough to get, flown out. Fast forward, that turned into a little bit of a career where I was like, "Whoa, you can get paid to talk? That's a whole nother universe. Like, this is legit." And so I remember a friend of mine hired me in Las Vegas to come speak at his event for $1,250. And I was like,
King of
I
the world.
got a plane ticket, a hotel room, and $1,200 to go to Vegas. This is unbelievable. Like, my mind was blown as a young person. And I finally hit a place where I was like, this is incredible. I was like, you know what? I need to do my own events. Like, I
Yeah.
want to bring people together where I can really, not just for an hour, but like for a couple days, like really give them the goods of what I got here. And so I started doing these events. My very first event, I partnered with a group called Learning Annex, who was back in the day.
Mhm.
And they gosh, I got in the biggest fight with my dad over this. They had promoted him for years and years and years and years and years. So the list was very loved him, was very tight. They knew who my dad was, blah, blah, blah. They never promoted me for anything. I was brand new. No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
But the founder was pretty crafty at marketing, and he's like, "You want to speak? I'll give you a speech. Here, I'll promote it for you." So he put me on the back cover, not the front, back cover. So that was my big entry point, but the back cover of the magazine, which used to circulate to hundreds of thousands of people. And he wrote an email to the entire email list. It was my dad mentioned like 15 times and my name at the bottom of "Come see Jairek." And my dad, rightfully so, just lost it. He was like, "Shit, what are you doing?" He's like, "Clearly, they're leveraging me to try to drive traffic to you. How much are they even paying you for this event that you're doing?" And I think out of like $65, I was getting $2.10 a person. And he's
Oh.
like, "Honey, I'll give you the $2. Just please don't do this shit."
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And I didn't know what I was doing. And it was so sweet because my very first event with Learning Annex as my partner, 9 people showed up. 8 were my family members, and 1 lucky soul came to find out what the heck I was talking about. But it was fun. 9 people came. It literally was my family in the audience that they were so happy to see me try to do a speech.
Yeah.
One person came and they were brave enough to find out what the heck I was
Let
doing.
let me ask you this. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I've
Yeah,
been working on this. What would you give today to have that speech recorded, to be able to
I do
watch
have it
again?
recorded.
Oh, you do?
It's
Oh,
horrible. It's a
I
horrible
know.
speech.
This is great. Today, we were just talking. It's like, I just want everything documented. I don't know why, but maybe my kids one day, my grandkids,
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm willing to document stuff and pay the money. But people are always like, what do you want to do with that for? I'm like, I just want to have it. I don't know. So that's amazing you have that.
But I'll fast forward a bit, make it more interesting for people listening, because this is just stories about me. And
Yeah.
unless you're a Jarek fan, then this
Yeah.
is not that useful. So the fast forward version, if we were to speed this up, so I'm hard on myself. The speech wasn't that horrible. It was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was okay. People heard about it. The next one, so I did a series with the Learning Annex between LA and
Uh,
we did 4 events. So here, 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 here. That's what we did. So we had time to bring more people each time. So the first one had 9 people, 8 were my family. The next one had like 45 people that showed up in LA. The next one had 75 people in San Diego, and it was starting to get standing room only in the little rooms they gave us. And then the final one had like 100 and something people that showed up, and we ran out of chairs in the room. The
yeah.
space was over flooded. And I was like, wow, that was cool. And so I got inspired that, wow, maybe people do care what I'm up to. Like, maybe this would work. And fast forward a few years, I decided to do a world tour. So I did 20
Oh,
events in 20 cities in 1 year, and I had the time of my life. I'm in my mid late 20s. We did an event in Sydney, Tokyo. We were over in Europe. We were in Central and South America. We were up in
mm,
Canada, all over the country, New York, LA, San Fran, Florida. Like, we were boom, 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 all in a year. And I had the time of my life. And I watched my numbers go up and I was like, wow, we're really doing it. And I learned another important business lesson. I sat down with my accountant at the end of the year and he goes, his name's Steve. He's this older gentleman. And he goes, Jairek, how do you think you did? I'm like, Steve, clearly I crushed it. Look at the top line number. Like, that's more money I've ever made in my life. It's amazing. And he goes, oh, no. This isn't good at all. I said, Steve, what are you talking about? There's profit. And he goes, yeah, you don't know how to read these, do you? I said, excuse me? And he goes, this is bad. He said, you would have made more money if you just worked at McDonald's. I was like, excuse me? I thought he was being a jerk. And I got mad. And he was like, yeah, no, you paid to go to work all year. I was like, are you kidding me? And at that stage, I was so frustrated because we just did the best we've ever done. More cities, more people, more top line revenue than ever before. Fast forward, what ended up happening was that year I crossed paths with a business mentor that was about to change my entire trajectory in business, and I didn't know it yet. As a kid, I was horrible at math, so I'd come home, glasses, snotty nose, get frustrated, and just hide it behind the couch. And I remember one day when my mom moved the couch and found my math homework, uh, she's like, whose homework is this? I'm like, not mine. She goes, that's weird. You're the only kid that lives in this house. I'm like, well, that's going to be hard to explain. So I just wasn't good at it. So I avoided it. Instead of failing forward, I was trying to avoid it, and avoiding it didn't help. It didn't develop that part of who I was. And so fast forward, this was a moment where I realized my future depended on me developing a part of myself that I had often avoided. And so I always ask people, what part of yourself needs to be developed that your future is depending on? Just sizzle on it for a second. What part of you needs to be developed that your future is depending on? At that moment, I always say, if we were a baseball team, the public speaker in me, boom, had some muscles. The sales guy who learned how to sell, bam, had some muscles. The coach, boom, lots of muscles. So I've got these developed teammates. And then we got to math, and I still got the 5-year-old version of me wearing glasses with a snotty nose who's avoiding doing the work to develop. I went, uh-oh. And imagine, we're at the state championship, and that part of me is up to bat. The rest of my team is like, oh, we're going to lose. Coach, can you put someone else in? Why the math kid? Math kid sucks. He's horrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't hold the bat. God, I don't even know if he knows how to swing the bat. Like, my God, he sucks. He's horrible. And so the parts of myself don't even want to play that kid. But the weird part is the kid's me. It's just a part of me that hasn't been developed. Personal development. I haven't developed that part of my person. And that year I met a mentor who made math fun for me. He talked about mama and papa and egg businesses and all this really simple stuff that allowed my brain to wrap its head around math and specific finance for business and accounting. And all of a sudden I came out the other side working with this guy where I could speak the language of business, and the language of business is accounting. And all of a sudden, you could show me a business financials, and I know if this business is a good business or a bad business in 30 seconds. I know if it's going the right direction or the wrong direction. I could tell you everything about a business just by looking at financials in about 90 seconds. And I didn't have that superpower prior to meeting this mentor. And this mentor helped me develop that little snot-nosed kid's part of me that hated math. And I'm forever grateful for this human being because he developed a part of who I am. Every now and then we'll cross paths with someone in our life that looks into us and says, I see greatness in you. And he saw greatness in me, and he helped coach it out of me. He helped bring that part of me to life, and he helped develop that part of who I am that was very weak before I met him. And I avoided it because I knew I was bad at it. Other parts I developed, but that part I avoided like the plague. And so he developed that part of me. He helped me go through the process. Show up early to practice, swing the bat. Stay late, swing the bat. Practice every day. Go to the batting cages. Go through the effort it takes to rhythmically and consistently practice until I could walk up to the plate and smash that ball. It's not that I was born lucky. I literally had practice, rhythm again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And I sucked and was horrible at it for a long time until I wasn't. And all of a sudden, that was a turning point for me in business. I learned how to speak the language of business, which was accounting and finance. I all of a sudden applied what he taught me. My business profit grew 142% over the next 12 months. I started making more profit per month and more cash flow per month than I ever had in a year prior. It was unbelievable. The whole dynamic shifted and everything started to evolve.
Let's transition into how
Sure.
I met you.
Mhm.
And so I know you know some of this story, but I'm going to tell you, for everybody listening, I love relationships. I'm not a great marketer by any means. I find people that I'm aligned with, and I pour into them, and I show up, and I give, and then I always just say, "Who else do you know that I might know? Can I come hang out with you?" Whatever that is, and I just pour into people. So we had a friend who was throwing a black tie gala event at EXPCon. I believe it was in Vegas,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Hey, would you come by? Would you come and go?" And I'm like, "We're not black tie people. We're Bud Light people. We're not sorry, but you know what? We'll support you." So me and Nate, my cousin, ended up going, and we happened to find the bar, Jared. And we're like, okay, we can hang out at the bar, right? So the problem was, is the line was long, and we didn't want to have to keep waiting in the line, and we didn't know a lot of people. So we ended up just saying there was two lines at the bar. We just stood right next to the lines and talked to everybody in the line and kept drinking. We were drinking bourbon that night. And we just kept drinking, and everybody kept coming. Next thing you know, they were like, take your seats. Well, we're trashed at this point. Okay, we're trashed, and it's me and my cousin. If you guys know us, we work hard, we play hard. We work hard, we play hard. So we sit down, and next thing you know, we find out that they're auctioning time with people. And I look at Nate and I'm like, this is important to us right now. We own 8 companies, and I'm sure there's names on here that could support our companies. And so we went through the list of 15. I think there was like 15 people. Maybe you were sitting next to some of them, and I started writing down people's names and what companies we own that were associated with that person that could help us. Well, when they said your name, I'm like, I've never met this guy. And they go surfing in Puerto Rico with Jairek Robbins. And we had Chevron coaching, and we're like, we're in. Well, next thing you know, we start bidding, buddy. And at the end of the night, at the end, and I got it all videoed, which is awesome. At the end of the night, we were the highest bidder that night. Everything went to extend a hand. So thank you for allowing that to happen. And I got time with you with surfing in Puerto Rico. And so that night, I knew that I was going to be able to have a relationship with you. Didn't know what it was. I didn't really know who you were. You seemed like a cool guy. Kind of watched and listened. At the time, you were publisher of Success Magazine, if I remember right. Is
President.
that president? Sorry, thank you. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to go hang out. This guy has no clue who I am. I could be a complete psychopath. I didn't see you there. So next thing, I also won.
I always have a plan for that, though. We have reefs here for surfing, so if anything got too bad, I'd just let you take a left on the wave, and you'll handle it.
I appreciate you saying that to me, because when we were driving or we were together, you go, we're not going to surf there. There's a reef.
Yeah.
So that tells me you
It means
like
I
me.
liked you. See?
Yeah, that's
So
what
just
that
checking you
tells
out.
me.
You'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
And what's funny, I think that night I won time with 4 people. Leo Perea was another one. At the time, he was in charge of the affiliated services, and we were going to go scuba diving with Leo. Well, I went to go get scuba certified. I don't know if you remember this. And what happened is I came up too fast, and my lungs blew up, and I was spitting up blood. I had blood out of my ears for 2 weeks. And I was supposed to come see you, and my doctors were like, if you get on a plane, you could die.
Yeah.
And then I had to cancel. And then it was about a year later, I sent you some random text message. And I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I was the guy that was supposed to come down there. And you go, yeah, I've been wondering when you're going to come down. When are you going to come down? And I was like, oh, thank you, my friend. Because you could have said, hey, time was up, whatever, who knows? And you're like, the best month to come is next month, I think is what you said.
November
And
through March.
And so I got on a plane. I came down there. I had a beautiful time with you and your family. We got to walk, we got to talk. There's some things you taught me in the jungle that I actually like to go back over with you at some time about knighthood and that stuff. Just beautiful stuff that was really good. And so from that time, I stayed in touch with you. I work with you in the core four now in your coaching programs, and just me to you, thank you, my friend. Like, I appreciate you. I know you just doing you. I get it, but there's times in which I just want to say thank you. Like, this
Welcome.
might not have ever happened if you'd have been like, hey, that was a year ago. I'm not even like with the company probably anymore at this point, or
Yeah.
and you could have just been like, peace, dude. Sorry, it's not gonna work. But you said, get your ass on down here. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened. I stayed and just let everybody know, stayed in touch, provide value. What can I help you with? Who can I help? And um that's how you build relationships. That's how you stay in touch. That's how when I asked you to come here, I'm like, would you come here, invest an hour with me? I'd love to share your story, what we've done. How did we, you gave your time.
Yeah.
Um, I made a nice, healthy donation that night. And
I think I was the second or third highest one, which surprised the hell out of me because I was like surfing in Puerto Rico. Like, sure, someone might be like, okay. And I think it brought in tens of thousands of dollars from multiple
oh,
people.
it
And
did.
I was like, wow,
It did.
really? That was
Yeah.
impressive. I was
Yeah.
like, God, maybe I should just sell like every weekend. I could just sell a couple surfing spots with me. Apparently, I'll make bank.
It's funny. We never even surfed.
Yeah, I don't know how to surf. That's the
I
funny
didn't,
part.
I
Uh,
don't either.
so that was the weird part about it is I came up with surfing because it sounded cool. I'm
Mhm.
more of a floater and a paddler. I'm
Yeah,
not on I do surf lightly, but I'm
sure.
not someone that would professionally take someone out to go have a surfing experience.
Especially where the reefs are.
No, but my
Yeah.
offer was what I will do is rent a surf coach, which we have some world class surf coaches that actually live
Yeah.
here. I was like, "No, that's what I'll do. I'll invite them down. I have boards. I'll grab boards. We'll hire a surf coach, take them out with us, and give them a great
Do
experience."
you,
So
do you know why I didn't want to go surfing?
why?
Because you asked me, like, hey, dude, we can do this, but
Yeah, I was down.
do you know
I
why I
love
didn't want
paddling
to?
down, floating around. I just don't surf very well.
Because it's really hard to talk to you when I'm surfing.
Yeah, it's true.
And I was there to talk with you and to create a relationship with you. I was there for this moment today.
Yeah,
And I wasn't there to go surfing. I would have loved to surf. I've never surfed,
okay.
but
I'll
I
still
knew
put
if
you out there.
well, maybe next time we'll go. But I just knew if I got on that board, our conversation was going to be less. And I came down there for a conversation, for a relationship. And so just once again, me to you, my friend, thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. I don't know how many lives will change in a positive way because of that time we spent together. Because we got really drunk and then invested tens of thousands of dollars that night into Make a Wish or whatever the
Oh,
fund
I thought
was.
you were telling a story about visiting me. I was like, we did.
No, no, that was before that. I was part. You were part of it.
I don't drink. I was like, how did that happen?
When me and Nate got done, we looked at each other and goes, our wives are going to kill us for spending this much money. We just, because then you still got to pay to do everything. Then we got to tell the wives. So yeah, that's the fun one. So we'll do this. Tell me what you've been up to today. What's been going on? And I got questions about this.
Yeah. I'll have to go fast. I have another training coming up at the 30-minute mark.
Sorry.
But I'll fast track a few things that I think are interesting right now going on in the world. So, um, business landed up working out fairly well for me. At one point when we met, I was the president of Success Enterprise, so I got pulled over that for a while. But I've always been doing my business, and then we got in. I've got pulled in with my dad to go invest in private equity, and so he started a fund. I own a piece of it, which was cool. It was very generous of him to allow me to do that. But we own pieces of 60, maybe 75, 80 private equity funds we own GP stakes in. And so it's a blessing. We're invested and we own pieces of the Utah Jazz, Golden State Warriors, Boston
Yeah.
Red Sox in sports. We own pieces of some of the best and biggest energy companies on earth. We own pieces of the Austin Martin F1 race team. If you think biotech, venture capital, energy, AI, like you name a vertical, we own the GP stakes of the GP firms that are invested in 9,000 of the best companies on earth.
Yeah.
And so that was a cool blessing that unfolded in the last probably 5 years or so. And it's really cool, really, really cool to be plugged into some of the biggest stuff happening on the planet in that space. And the other part that was really neat was my dad gets so frustrated that in order to invest in stuff like that, two things had to happen. One, you probably had to be a sovereign wealth fund or a pension fund. So you needed
Yeah.
billions of dollars to get in, and you needed access. And it always irritates him. The other part, you need to be a qualified purchaser, which means 5 million of liquid investable assets to even qualify, if you could even get a piece. And so he found a partner through this company called Kaz in Houston that pools a bunch of family office money together and gets access, unique access to all these places. And so it's been a blessing to be able to co-invest with them and be a part of some of the things that were only available to the biggest, elite, largest institutions on earth. And then I'm always proud of my dad. He did something unique. He pushed them to say, how do we make this available to normal, everyday people? And they created a fund where they made it available now with some laws that have passed that someone through their IRA or their investment fund can call Fidelity and say, I want to be invested in this. And I think it's as low as like 2,700 bucks to get in. And so what
Okay.
used to be $1 million
Yeah.
minimum, then it was $25,000 minimum. And they've been able to get it all the way down to like a call it $2,700 minimum, where people can participate and own parts of all those different types of organizations. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
And so that's something that I'm incredibly honored and pumped for, that's doing really well. My wife and I took a trip to South Africa, and we crossed paths with a conservation, wild animal conservation project. And we bought a piece of land there. We're developing and building our home, which is a blessing. And so there's 26,000 acres. We have elephants, giraffes, rhinos, lions, cheetahs, the whole gambit. And I got my safari certification last year, so I can officially drive the safari truck.
I'm in for a seat on the safari ride one day, just letting you know.
Come out. I'll drive you around.
Yeah, love that.
It's super fun. Super, super fun. It's one of my favorite things to do. We took my son for his third birthday, and we ended up buying land and now participating with the conservation efforts, which is cool. We both protect the animals, but we also protect the fauna and the endangered species of the plants there as well. And then they've rewilded elephants into the region. They've rewilded different animals. It's spectacular, the work they do. Last year we did a 28-day, 5 National Safari Park road trip journey with my wife, my son, and I, and 2 friends. And we drove through Kenya and Tanzania through 5 different safari reserves and parks, which was super fun. We found the Maasai Girls Rescue Center, which has 50 young women from little to 17 years old, where often in that culture, these girls will be sold off as child brides. And they do genital mutilation. They if you're a dude can take multiple wives and he'll put them to work and make them give him the money, this kind of situation. And so the rescue center gives girls the ability to come into a safe place, have an education, be supported in finding her path and her way. It's not trying to interfere with local culture. It's just providing another opportunity for young girls who want that. So we're going to go spend probably 2 to 4 weeks this year volunteering there with our son, so he can have that experience of being around others and helping. Fast forward into some of the business stuff. Probably 12 months ago, I saw AI was picking up steam, and I was kind of interested in it. And I thought, I want to be a part of this, but I don't know how to code. So I hired a team of coders and had this guy coding for me. And after weeks and weeks and weeks of him doing it, he brought me back a pile of turd that was worth nothing. And I was so frustrated. And so I decided I was going to take coding classes and figure this out myself. After 2 weeks of being bored out of my mind because I couldn't comprehend a lot of the stuff, it's kind of like math. I wasn't good at it. I tried using Lovable and some of these like code tools. And luckily, I have 2 neighbors, one who is number like 16 at Google and the other one who's a professional designer and coder, that one of them was over at my house and watched me on my computer and was like, please don't do that. You give me hives. Like, he had like a weird twitch. He's like, you're messing with my head please don't do it that way. So he was visually irritated at my inability to properly code. And he's like, do you honestly want to do this? Like, for real, for real? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna need the captain seat, partner. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, get out of your chair. I didn't need to sit in it. I was like, oh, that feels invasive as a man in my office. Like, you're gonna take my chair? Okay. So I stood to the side, and he did one of these like crack, crack, crack. Put on his favorite tunes. And like his fingers started doing magic shit on my keyboard. My computer screen turned into the Matrix, and like shit's downloading and things are flying. I've never seen my computer do shit like this in my life. And by the end, he professionally set up my entire full stack of coding systems in order to actually properly build professional grade software. And so I disappeared after that for the next 60 days, building something that I think is groundbreaking for two reasons. One, it allows us to build swarm and teams of agents that can actively drive parts of your business forward. So I have an event coming up. I built 12 agents who are my PR and media team, my podcast outreach team, my sales team, my marketing team, my ops team, my event physical facility coordination team. I built in a team that would take 30 plus people with a stack of agents who've now produced the entire process. They've booked me on, hold on, let me see if I can see my stats. I think they've booked me on, I think like 17 podcasts. They're running a webinar series. I have to teach it, but they're running a webinar series every week. They're producing promotional material, blogs, outreach, all this stuff to drive traffic. They're driving traffic. They're scraping the algorithm of all the social media platforms and showing me exactly what to post, when to post, and how to post it in order to hit the algorithm and go. All of our metrics are going up and to the right. Like they're optimizing. And then every week they scan what we did, look for ways to improve it, of what worked, what didn't, how do we replicate and improve, and they naturally improve it every single week. And so this is an experiment I'm running of how well can a team of agents properly outline, coordinate, manage, market, and run an event. And so far, they're crushing it. So that thought is, ooh, if this will be helpful in my business, I bet it would be helpful in other people's businesses. So we built a 300,000 lines of code software. It's professional grade SOC, it's 256-bit encrypted. It's bank grade encrypted and protected. It's fully functioning and working. We have active business owners who are dentist, manufacturer. We have some coaches on there. We have different fields, some restaurants, and they're loving it. It's giving them back. Our goal is to help figure out, is there a bottleneck in your business that takes up 10 to 25 hours a week that we could build a swarm of agents around, and it would free up that time and give it back to you. And so far it's working. I'll give you one more thing and then I have to jump to another training. There's another thing going on in society. Earth has been around for 4.6 billion years, humans 300,000 years, the modern workplace 100 years. The modern workplace for 8-hour workdays were built on a 24-hour hormone reset cycle, which is what men do.
Okay.
47% of the US workforce is women. They run on a 4-week cycle with 4 distinct stages. This workplace was never built to support their natural rhythms.
Got it.
We're at a state where, when asked, would you rather choose a man or a bear? Lots of women are choosing the bear. And I think I have a hunch why. Part of it is because the system they're pushing themselves into every day was not built to support the natural rhythms they go through. And I was trying to help understand this with my wife as we were using a new tool we built to understand this process with her. It's called peakher.ai. And so I said, if we went into the garage and I put my foot firmly on the brake, meaning your estrogen and progesterone levels completely bottom and your body does not feel like it wants to move, the brake is on. But mentally, I slam on the gas and I'm sitting in the garage with full brake, full gas. All your engine is going to do is stress. It's going to go, but nothing's going to move. And I said, how irritated and irritable and frustrated would I feel as a human being if my brake turns on because my hormones completely collapse while my brain is telling me, run, and my body won't move? I would be pissed. I'd be irritated. I would be lit up. And I said, oh my gosh, that's how you feel right now? Whoa, I didn't know that. Holy smokes. And then I found out their testosterone has a 25x swing every month.
25x?
That's the equivalent. 25x it swings. That percentage of swing is what a man goes through. Imagine a 20-year-old man. the testosterone, like, I could do anything. I could break walls. I could run faster. I could do anything. Raw, man, right? Imagine a 20-year-old man's testosterone. That same adjustment is by the time a man gets 50. How much his testosterone changes between 20 and 50 is the same range, 25x, that a woman goes through every 28 to 40 days. Imagine every 2 or 3 weeks you getting the testosterone of a 20-year-old pumping through your veins and then it disappearing. Week 1, you could run through a brick wall. Week 2, you don't feel like standing up and getting out of bed. And you don't know why. And then 47% of the women have to go to work and perform at the same level every day. Imagine your testosterone disappearing and you having to still show up and work just the same with the same results. Imagine your progesterone and your estrogen completely disappearing, but you still have to show up and do the same results.
Yeah, I don't even know how I would think about that. I
That's
don't even know how to
insane.
process it.
I've never been a let's burn this down person, but after learning this and realizing this is a 100-year experiment, this hasn't been around forever. It's not the way it's always been. It's a new thing we've been trying. I don't think we should burn it down, but I do think we should readjust the system to be more supportive of 47% of our workforce.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't working, you're still a mom and a lover and a runner and an athlete and you have so many hats you wear. It's radically unfair, one, to not know all this stuff that's going on, and two, both for men and women. I've been with my wife for 14 years, and I've learned more about her in the last 3 months than I have in 14 years. And she's learned more about herself. She said one of the sweetest things, and then I got to jump to this next training. She said something the other day that just got me. She said, I finally feel like I don't have to fight myself every day.
That's huge. Women, listen to this. That's huge right there.
Anyways, we have an app that's coming out called Peak Her. PeakHer.ai for peak performance for women. And it gives women the ability to get insight by tracking every day. And it gives insight to which of the 4 phases she's in and helps give her insight of how to plan her week, how to organize her schedule so that she's showing up to the things and scheduling life that align and support the exact stage as she moves through it each and every month.
Oh, beautiful.
I have a weird feeling this will cause women maybe to start choosing the man again instead of choosing the bear, because they'll stop fighting themselves and they'll start having more alignment. And the possibility, if you do this with your partner, like my experience to learn more about her has been eye-opening. And it's given me so much more depth of understanding and being able to see her and support her in different ways that I never had the opportunity to before, because I didn't know what was going on and she didn't even know what was going on. So I think that'll be a dynamic shift for society. And my thought is the combine, maybe with AI, we could free up some time so it isn't an 8-hour work week, 5 days a week kind of stuff anymore. And according to Jamie Dimon, who's with Chase, he said with AI, it might be able to get us down to a three-day work week. And so if that's really truly possible with the same or better output, but less days and time, we might be able to rebuild a system where it actually supports the natural cycles of our body and allows us the freedom to stay in a rhythm that truly honors who we are and how we move.
Love it. Love it. Well, Jairek, I know you got to run. Thank you, my friend, for your time today. I appreciate you. How can anybody get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
Yeah. You're welcome. Executiveoffice.ai, peakher.ai. I'll give you a link for the show notes, so they're welcome to go click those and they'll find where we are and see where we're at. Last one, plug. If you're a business doing $3 to $10 million bucks and you want to scale up to 100 million, I'll do a free report for you. McKinsey would charge anywhere between $20,000 to $150,000 for the report itself. I'll give you, just shoot me a message, say that you're in that size of business, and I'll give you a list of the forms we need for 3 to 5 years of info, and then we'll build a free report for you, just as my way to introduce myself and see if I could add some value.
Love it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your time today.